I have prepared indeed a few slides about the work between the EU and OTIF. It was already mentioned, it is called the Intergovernmental Organization for International Carriage by Rail. The organization is based in Bern in Switzerland, and it has a very long tradition going back to the 1800s. It has presently 50 member states, and it is based on the OTIF convention, the so-called COTIF, with a number of appendices. OTIF's mission is to promote, improve and facilitate international traffic by rail. This is exactly where the common point with the European Union is, which has the aim to create a single European railway area. Here, my agency is supporting the European Commission in order to streamline the technical rulemaking for rail of the European Union on the one hand side, and the OTIF legislative framework on the other side. With other words, the common mission is teamwork covering both technical and legal aspects. It is our common aim to establish and maintain equivalence between the European Union and the OTIF legislation concerning railway interoperability and safety to the extent necessary for international rail traffic. On this slide, you see a map generated by the OTIF Secretariat. You see the dark blue countries which apply the technical appendices to the COTIF, which I mentioned previously, the so-called ATMF and ATPU. So these are two annexes to the OTIF convention. Other OTIF member states surrounding the EU are also marked in the same dark blue color, and that means that they also apply these technical legislation, the technical legislation of OTIF, which is mostly equivalent to the rules applicable in the EU. This allows the exchange of vehicles at border stations among those countries with the same dark blue color. The table on this slide indicates the status of equivalence between the uniform technical prescriptions from OTIF and the technical specifications for interoperability applicable in the EU. It's a bit simplified, but it is correct. The technical interoperability rules of COTIF have the aim of facilitating the free circulation of vehicles in international traffic and have superseded the technical provisions of RIC and RIV vehicles, which you probably remember. They go back to the 1920s to 1922 to be precise, but they are today no longer available. Today you have the OTIF rules. On the one hand side, you notice that the rules, that all the rules related to freight wagons, they are fully compatible. But you see on the other side that the scope of the OTIF rules is not covering the full range, which is marked in this table. Why is this? Well, it is very simple, because OTIF only covers those aspects which are necessary to exchange vehicles at border stations. To give you an example, there is no need for rules about control, command and signaling if you just want to send a freight wagon to Turkey or to Serbia. But if you want to achieve a single European railway area with trains or train sets going from country A to country B, for example, from France to Germany, the TGV, you need also rules about control, command and signaling in order to allow also locomotives or full train sets to cross the border. This slide, you see two squares. The smaller one to the left is displaying the situation within the European Union. In the context of the EU legislation, we use the term vehicle authorization for placing on the market, while under COTIF, which is the situation in the big box covering almost the complete slide, the rules speak about admission of railway material used in international traffic. Remember from the map I showed you previously that all the EU member states which have railways are also members to COTIF. This is why you see the EU in the smaller box surrounded by the OTIF frame in the in a bigger scale. I mentioned already the Interoperability Directive 2016/797, which is the technical legal base for trains traveling across borders, including the TSIs. COTIF is only relevant for those EU member states which receive vehicles from outside the EU under the COTIF framework, for example, Turkey, as I mentioned it before, or if trains vehicles should be sent outside, like to North Macedonia, for example. Yeah, in this case, COTIF Appendix ATMF provides the legal basis for exchanging vehicles at border stations, as I mentioned it previously. After all, why is there the cooperation between the European Union and OTIF? Well, to say it or to summarize it in simple words, if you want to travel beyond the EU, if you want to make vehicles being exchanged at borders, we need the help of the OTIF legal framework in order to streamline the applicable rules.